Hello, everyone. Thank you for signing on to today's Amtrak Vacations presentation on private sleeping rooms and cabins on board Amtrak. I'm so thankful to have you folks here with me on the presentation today. So let's go ahead and dive in. By the way, folks, I am your host, Jared Kettinger, and I just want to temporarily and take a moment to direct you to the questions box that you'll find on the side of the GoTo webinar platform. Make sure, folks, to type in any and all questions you may have. I will take time for Q&A at the end of the presentation today. Now, what will we cover at large during today's presentation? Well, number one, important things to know about the private sleeping accommodations on board the train, some popular destinations to consider for your next rail vacation, routing your vacation from your local hometown, and of course, any Q&A that we'll cover at the end as well. And it's important for you to note that we have two distinct brands here at our overall company, Amtrak Vacations and Rail Bookers. So, of course, the host presentation today is covering Amtrak Vacations, sleeper accommodation, and vacation packages. And so, what Amtrak Vacations is a vacation brand where we package the hotels and the sightseeing at amazing destinations all throughout the United States, along with the wonderful, beautiful, leisurely train trips. And then, of course, we have our Railbookers brand, in which the same concept is taken just internationally. Again, bundling holidays and vacation packages, the hotels, the sightseeing, and the wonderful rail experience. Just whereas Amtrak Vacations is here in the US, Railbookers covers Canada, Europe, and the rest of the world. Pretty straightforward. Now, some key reasons why travelers love traveling with Amtrak Vacations. Well, number one, setting up the trips, preparing them, and packaging them together is real easy. Number one, because you're going to be working with a Amtrak Vacations or Rail Bookers rail expert consultant. And trust me, folks, they know the rail. They know the best routes to travel on at the best times, ensuring you're getting on your next best vacation. And it's important for you folks to know that whether you're looking to travel next week, next month, a few months from now, at the end of this year, or in 2022 or 2023, we can book from last minute or soon in departures for next week or next month up into 2 years from now. And we have a maximum flexibility of when it's possible and where it's possible to go. We're not the cruise lines or the escorted motor coach bus companies where you're set on specific dates of departure or travel. With us, we can travel pretty much to whatever, any destination at any date for whatever length of time you're looking to go there, as long as the trains are running and as long as there's availability at the destination you're requesting. And across our brands, Amtrak Vacations and Railbookers, because we can book for packages for travel within the domestic United States through Amtrak Vacations, and through Railbookers, we cover Canada, Europe, Australia, parts of Asia, and the rest of the world. We have the largest rail vacation selection anywhere. And so whether you want to cross the country, going from east to west in the United States, going to the national parks or popular US cities to travel to, or going from one country to another throughout Europe, going on more once in a lifetime luxurious rail trips, we can cover all of the above. And because of all of the previous pointers, no rail trip is too complicated for us to handle for you. And I like to remind folks and bring it back that yes, we can book from last minute, or as we like to say, from today to up to 2 years in advance to up to 2023. So again, if you're looking to travel this year, whether it's last minute, whether it's in the heat of the summer, whether it's at the end of this year, or you're waiting till next year or the year after, you can even start planning now for your trips, close in or far in advance. And it's important for you folks to know that all of our rail vacations are customizable. So that includes taking existing itineraries that you might find in a brochure on our website and reworking them to fit your needs, your requests, how you're aiming to travel, and what you're looking to do, such as adding on destinations to existing itineraries and packages. For example, say you're doing a trip up along the East Coast, maybe going from Boston to New York to Washington, D.C. And on the way, you'd like to add a trip up into Portland, Maine by way of Boston. Well, we can simply take that destination and a package to that destination and bundle it right together. Or even adding additional nights to the packages. Maybe you'd like to spend an extra night in New York and two extra nights in Washington, D.C. on that agenda. Simple as that. Easy said, easy done. Or routing trips from your most local hometown. There are over 500 different Amtrak stations throughout the USA and even some across the border into Canada, and we can't wait for the borders to open back up, that people can depart from and travel to return to, going round trip, starting and ending in the same place. Of course, we can also upgrade the rail tickets to include the sleeper accommodations, which we will be covering in just a few moments on what they look like, what's involved, what have you. And when you're going to these destinations with any of our brands, to any of these locations, whether it be here in the United States, up in Canada, Europe, through rail bookers, wherever you're looking to go, you're not just planning on taking the train there, checking into a hotel, and that's the end of your journey. You're most likely going to want to explore and do activities and sightsee. Well, we always include some form of sightseeing within the package, but of course, we can always add on additional forms of sightseeing, swap some in and out, however you're looking to go. And why inquire, or in particular, why book now? Well, right now we have a current maximum flexibility offer that's running right through the end of the month for any new reservations made. Because we understand that if you are looking to travel now, you're might be ready to go, but some of you might not be ready to go, or you might just want to make sure you have a little bit extra assurance when you're ready to go or when you're planning to go. Well, for any new reservations made through the end of June, if there's any needs for cancellation or date changes, there are no fees that will be hit to you regarding any of the above situations. And we are in the midst of a limited time special offer for you for upgrading to bedroom cabin accommodations on board the train. And I will be covering what the bedrooms are like in a few moments. But during our special sale event that is happening right now, when you book an Amtrak Vacations package with us, of course, and you upgrade to a bedroom accommodation for the overnight experience on board the train, you can save off of any additional experiences or upgrades that you include on your package. For example, you're working with an Amtrak Vacations consultant, you want a package, you upgrade to a bedroom, and although the itinerary has hotels based in 3-star accommodations, you would like to upgrade to, say, a 4-star property. No problem. Or you don't necessarily want to upgrade the hotel, but rather the type of hotel room you're booked to stay at. Maybe you want a balcony or a veranda view room in your hotel. Okay, sounds good. Or even that you're going to add additional hotel nights stay to the package or add additional sightseeing. Well, once you've upgraded your bedroom to a bedroom on board the train, and then upgraded your hotel accommodations or adjusted your packages, you can save $300 off per couple on any 3 to 6 night trip, $400 off per couple on any 7 to 9 night trip, and $500 per couple off on any 10+ night journey. So definitely worth inquiring. And I will be covering some of the potential upgrades that you could inquire with the Amtrak Vacations consultant as we move forward during the presentation. Now, where can you travel to by train? Where can you come from? What can you do? Well, everywhere on this map, you're seeing a red line, a red rat. That is a route that Amtrak travels on. Everywhere you're seeing a little white dot, that is an indicator of a train station that Amtrak will travel through. And everywhere on this map that you're seeing a little star, that's a destination that Amtrak Vacations has a package that it goes to, where we bundle, again, the hotels, the sightseeing, and the attractions, serving as a one-stop shop to make it easy for you for these trips. And of course, the red lines are indicating the wonderful scenic train routes that you will take to venture there. And so, what is it like on board the train? Well, I'm going to now move into the part that you've probably been waiting for and excited given the title of the presentation, talking about what it's like on board the train, the sleeper accommodations, which we'll address momentarily. We'll talk about some great destinations and packages that you can travel on by way of Amtrak Vacations, and then we will move into a great Q&A period. So first off, you can see the coach accommodations on board the train, which are 2 big, plush, comfy seats. The seats themselves recline at a 45-degree angle. Now, this photo is a little bit out of date just in terms of currently anybody that's traveling in the open areas of the train or throughout the train stations must wear a facial covering or a mask, whether you are a traveler or an Amtrak staff member. And right now, there, of course, is more physical and social distancing being enforced on board the train. However, things are very, slowly but steadily getting back to normal. One thing I do like to point out about the seats is that there's no pesky middle seat on board the train, just 2 big plush comfy seats, as I mentioned, recline at a 45-degree angle with a leg rest that'll kick up, a tray table that will fold down for drinks, snacks, devices of any sort, and right front and center you can see outlets to charge said devices, plenty of room above head to store luggage, and as always, what is standard, the nice big picture window to enjoy the sights out of, because it's Amtrak and Amtrak Vacations philosophy that whether you're traveling in a coach seat or the most deluxe form of sleeper accommodations, everybody should be able to enjoy all the wonderful sights right from the window of the train. And coach seating is quite comfortable. It's quite relaxing. You're able to see just as much from a coach seat as you can see from a cabin. However, there are some inherent extra benefits to booking sleeper accommodations. Number one, you have priority boarding onto the train ahead of the general admission. And what's nice in particular, if you're traveling through a major station, such as Chicago Union Station, Amtrak's hub, or Washington Union Station, South Station in Boston, where I'm from, Los Angeles Union Station, or stations all throughout the United States, if you are traveling with a sleeper compartment, you have priority boarding. Those at the station, the conductors, will tend to collect you to a degree and direct you to where to be certain areas on the platform where you can board the train priority. And that way you can get on ahead of the general admission, get right into your cabin, start relaxing, and start preparing for your train journey. Into each of the sleeper cabin train cars, there is a dedicated car attendant who has quite a lot of responsibilities, all of which is making sure that you're having a wonderful time, a wonderful trip. First off, of course, their main job is to make sure everything is clean, ship shape, and in Bristol fashion, as we like to say. Also, as it is their job to quite literally travel by train backwards and forwards on the routes every day, they're quite used to seeing all the beautiful scenery outside the windows of the train cars. And so they are quite helpful in directing you, knocking on your cabin door, knock, 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 and saying, "Hello, miss, hello, sir." In just a few moments, you're going to be wanting to look out the window because you're going to be traveling by XYZ beautiful destination. Also, as you can see listed here, they will provide the included toiletries for using the showers and services, the providing bottled water and coffee along the way, and folding the bedding down in the evening time when it transitions to sleeping, to the time for everybody to go to sleep. And as I mentioned, everyone is currently required to wear a facial covering when you're out in the open areas of the train or throughout the train stations, whether you are an Amtrak Vacations or Amtrak traveler or an Amtrak staff member. However, because you have a privacy door, of course, for your various cabins, once you are in your cabin with that privacy door slid and shut closed, you are then in your own travel bubble, and you can remove your facial covering, your mask. You do not have to wear it at that point. So, to give you some folks ideas what the cabins look like, here you can first see the sleeper roomette, which during the day has two big plush comfy seats that face each other. At night, everything folds down just as it does with pretty much all the cabins to bunk style sleeping. It has a nice big picture window I like to refer to as the window on the world because that is just as it is. So you can sit back, relax, whether you're traveling up and down the east coast of the United States, up along the Pacific Ocean on the west coast, going through the beautiful Colorado Rocky Mountains, going through the red rocks of the Southwest, wherever you may be going, this is your window on the world as the train is chugging or rolling by. And while, of course, the train car attendants are there to fold everything down in the evening for folks to sleep once it is essentially bedtime, just as you can see the young lady doing here, should you want to take a nap or relax during the daytime, as you can see, she's cracking a book, enjoying all the scenery as it's going by, stretching out and relaxing. Of course, that is one of the inherent benefits of traveling on board the train. So whether you're in a situation as she is right now, reading a book and enjoying the scenery, as you just saw her, with her cup of what looked like cranberry juice or some sort of juice, enjoying the scenery, you can picture yourself sequestered in your own cabin, your own kind of quiet spot for the duration of your ride, whether you're having just a juice or a soft drink, whether you're having a glass of wine or a beer, and imagine yourself enjoying all the scenery as the train winds and chugs through all the areas across the United States. Here you can see a larger, more blown up diagram of the roomette. Each of the cabins are really dedicated for maximum 2 adults or 1 adult and 1 child. You can see it's listed private restroom access in the train car, private shower access in the train car. So yes, the roomette's bathrooms are down the hall. Also, it says 1 to 2 suitcases. Now that's really per person, but you're going to want to bring an overnight bag specifically into the roomette cabin itself. And so you may bring a overhead or a piece of carry-on luggage, that you would normally put overhead on an airline, put on the lower level of the roomette car where there's an open storage area, which is only accessible to those in the roomette car. Any additional piece of luggage you can put right checked through to your destination, and bring your own personal, overnight bag into the roomette itself. Next up, we have the sleeper bedroom, which is the bigger of the cabins on board the train. It has a big captain's chair, as you can see the gentleman sitting in. That's what we like to call it, the big captain's chair, and a nice long sofa couch to stretch out and relax in. Everything still folds down to bunk style sleeping in the evening time, as you can see by the diagram. And it has a nice big picture window to enjoy all the sights out of, as is the standard. However, this room has the restroom and shower right within the cabin itself. So if you did want to travel in that format with your own private bathroom and shower dedicated to your cabin, here you have it. This is the one to pick from. And to give you an idea of what things look like in the evening when they're all folded down, this is what the bedroom accommodation is at night. You can see there's plenty of room for comfort to stretch out, relax, to start getting some sleep in. And you can see the door right to the left there. That is the door right to the private bathroom and shower facility within the bedroom cabin. And just as I did before with the roomette, here you can see the blown up picture of the bedroom. You can see at night everything folds down to bunk style sleeping. This indicates the in-room restroom and in-room shower, as it says, right in the room. Again, it is for up to 2 people or 1 adult, 1 child. And this is the 2 main types of sleeper to choose from. However, if we have anybody on the webinar today that might travel with ADA accessible requests or needs, perhaps you travel with a walker or a wheelchair, we have ADA accessible bedrooms on the lower level of the train that can fit someone traveling with such a situation, and both for themselves as an ADA accessible traveler, but also with anyone traveling along with them, there are special discounts applicable for those train tickets. And it's important to highlight that, in particular for those in the ADA accessible rooms, this makes it convenient, but is accessible for pretty much anybody. The meals themselves, which the meals are included within the cost of the sleeper, can, as always, be provided right to the cabins. That was the way it was prior to the craziness of COVID, and they're always able to be provided right to the cabin. However, things are continuing as the world is starting to open back up and the services on Amtrak returning to their previous enjoyable glory. And so that will continue, as I'm very excited to announce the traditional Amtrak service dining cars will be restored to their regular service on many of the long distance train routes beginning June 23rd. So I hope I can get a woo-hoo or some form of excitement for you folks, as we're all very excited for, as things moving back to normal, one of the main highlights of the dining cars, in this case, the dining cars on these trains, the Auto Train, the California Zephyr, the Coast Starlight, the Empire Builder, the Southwest Chief, the Sunset Limited, and the longer portions of the Texas Eagle. The traditional Amtrak dining cars are going back to their regular services with the meals, as they always were, price factored into the cabins. However, as we are returning to a sense of normalcy, there's a couple of little added benefits or add-ons that Amtrak and Amtrak Vacations is including with the meal services. Number one, the menus are being updated, and you can download a copy of some of the new dining car service menus from our website, amtrakvacations.com. And as always, they're chef-inspired menus because the meals themselves are prepared by chefs and cooking teams on board the train for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so while the menus are being updated, that we have, of course, returned some fan favorites. In particular, for breakfast, the Amtrak signature railroad French toast, or as I call to my niece and nephews, the choo choo French toast. And for dinner, the Amtrak signature steak, but is continuing and backed by popular demand. But for breakfast, you could have a 3 egg omelet with your choice of inclusions in the omelet. For lunch, the Amtrak burger or the big salad with grilled chicken. And there are some updated options as well, such as tortellini with pesto cream sauce for dinner. One nice thing or nice aspect is that when going down to dinner now, there will be nightly appetizers, which will be included complimentary within the dinner services, as well as your first ordered alcoholic beverage will be complimentary as well. So as the train systems are returning back to their normalcy, to their former glory, some of the nice services are returning and even being expanded upon. So we've talked about the cabins, we've talked about the meals. So let's talk about some popular destinations for you to consider for your next journey, such as out to Glacier National Park, which is Amtrak Vacations' top selling #1 destination. And the reason why is because of the inherent beauty of Glacier National Park, with its thousands of mountains and its mountain ranges, its thousands upon thousands of glaciers, hence the name, millions of lakes, its vast, expansive forests, incredible wildlife, and the fact that it's easily accessible by way of the Empire Builder, the train that goes from Chicago through the northern part of the country right up to the door of the eastern end of the park for you to stay at the Glacier National Park Lodge. And because of the convenience of the train going right to the basically the door of the lodge, in fact, from the door of the Glacier Park train station to the door of the Glacier Park Lodge, it's only 209 steps door to door. It makes things even easier because not only do we make it easy to access the lodge, we make it easy to access the sightseeing, such as the famous Big Sky Circle Tour done on the historic open top red buses, one of which you can see right in the photo front center in front of you, as it travels all throughout the park, driving over the Going to the Sun Road and through St. Mary Valley, and taking in the wonderful splendor that is Glacier Park. And all of that is very convenient because the lodge itself is right at the door of the eastern end of the park. It is your traditional naturalist national park lodge. It is quite nice, and in fact, the lobby of the Glacier Park Lodge was the basis for the design of the lobby of Disney World's Wilderness Lodge. So if anyone has ever stayed there or visited there in Disney, that'll give you an idea if you actually haven't been to this lodge before. And as I mentioned, we are in the midst of a flash sale event, a big sale event where when you upgrade to bedroom accommodations on board the train and then upgrade along your package, whether it be from a 3-star hotel to a 4-star or a nicer level of accommodation at a lodge or a hotel, or adding on extra activities or inclusions such as daily breakfast being pre-packaged and included within the holiday trip you book, you can save $300 to $400 to $500 off per couple when upgrading on the package and upgrading to bedrooms. So here you can see the Glacier National Park Getaway, one example of many national park packages we have here at Amtrak Vacations. Another one being the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone Rail Journey. This itinerary starting in Chicago on board the California Zephyr, which is Amtrak's #1 scenic, #1 voted most scenic rail route. That'll travel from Chicago through the heartland of the country out to Salt Lake City, where you will have a stay in Salt Lake City and then pick up a rental car to drive up into Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and use that as access to the Grand Tetons, and then continue up into Yellowstone. Now, as I said, we include a stay in Jackson Hole, and you will have a half-day morning wildlife tour of the Teton National Park. And the reason that it is a morning tour is that you'll go out early, around 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., and you might say, well, Jarrett, that's a little early for a vacation itinerary. Well, the reason is you're heading out in the morning before the park is too crowded and too much wildlife is scared away. Whereas you can head out in the morning, catch plenty of wildlife views out in the wild, and then you'll be done by the half day to continue on up to visit Yellowstone, America's first established national park. Which, I don't know if you folks know this, Yellowstone and its splendors are created because it sits right above a supervolcano, which has caused the incredible geothermal hot springs like the Grand Prismatic Spring you can see here with the deep hues of blue and orange and yellow and green. And then there's Old Faithful Geyser that you can see erupt. And you will have a stay in the park itself. And so it's, as I mentioned, during this sale event, when you upgrade, you can save. So again, when you upgrade to a bedroom accommodation on board the train, you can also save by upgrading to, say, the Lake Yellowstone Hotel, which, folks, we have access to national park lodges in many national parks throughout the United States, all of which are predominantly comfortable, some of which are a little more rustic, but all very usable. The Lake Yellowstone Hotel is incredible. It's more of a 4-star feel. I visited myself. It's high on my bucket list for a place to visit. When you walk in, there's incredible nodes of coffee and pastry from the lobby level coffee shop just wafts right into you. You'll walk right into this incredible hearth. The lobby itself is gorgeous. The hotel is looking right out onto the vast Lake Yellowstone, hence the name. So definitely worth inquiring about. So folks, this is the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone rail journey. One quick thing for you folks to know, whenever you see a map, whether it be on AmtrakVacations.com on our website or in a brochure, wherever you see a map, it's easy to read. Wherever there is a bubble on said map, that indicates the amount of overnights at a hotel or a lodge at a destination. And then anywhere you see a red arrow, that indicates the amount of overnights on board the train. So you can see that's one overnight on board the California Zephyr, and then a various array of overnights in Salt Lake City, Jackson Hole, Yellowstone, what have you. Next up, we have the Northern Rail Experience. Now, this itinerary is round trip from Washington, D.C. So we have our Northern Rail Experience and other rail experience itineraries where they focus more on the idea of enjoying the long distance rail travel across the country and a little less of a focus on the actual destination. And many of our rail experiences are based out of traveling from the hub of Chicago. However, as we have over 500 different stations to pick from, we can always readjust the itineraries. In this case, it's going round trip from Washington, D.C., which also is a major hub station. But again, we have 500 different stations that we could rework these itineraries to get you to depart from. Or perhaps you wanted to go round trip from Washington, D.C., for an example, because you would like to add a stay in Washington to explore the area, or whether it be on a hop on, hop off tour, or a guided tour to the monuments, or visiting one of the many museums in the area. From there, you would board the train and head out to Chicago, and then go overnight on the Empire Builder, heading out into Seattle. So again, the itineraries are mostly focused on going on the Empire Builder from Chicago up along the northern part of the country, out to Seattle, and enjoying the long distance aspect of the ride. But once you're there, you are going to stay a spell in Seattle and eventually in San Francisco. And so you may want to upgrade to a better view hotel property room. And we include a stay in San Francisco with sightseeing to Muir Woods and Sausalito, with a bay cruise there as well, before taking the California Zephyr back through the heart of the country, through the Colorado Rockies, and back to Chicago, and then on to Washington, D.C., or whichever way we've created this for your round trip specifications. And then we have the Grand Rail Experience. This goes round trip, in this case from Chicago. Again, can depart from over 500 different stations. This is a big loop around the country from Chicago out to Seattle, down along the coast of California to Los Angeles on the coast Starlight, eventually traveling through New Orleans, Washington, D.C., and back to Chicago again. Now, on its initial departure, this heads out on the Empire Builder for its full run from the Midwest to the Pacific Northwest, up along the northern part of the country. After the stay in Seattle, connecting the Empire Builder down on the coast Starlight, running down the Pacific coast of California. The Coast Starlight is my favorite railroad I've ever traveled on. It is incredible to just sit back and relax and watch the waves crashing along the Pacific Ocean. It is scenic, it's serene. I've seen baby otters, I've seen dolphins swimming out in the ocean right from the window of the train itself. From there, we will connect you by way of Los Angeles. So there would be a night stay in Los Angeles with sightseeing included. And then visiting out into New Orleans. And the city that care forgot has quite a lot for you to do, for you to see, and for you to experience, whether you want to do a guided walking tour or a history tour or a paddle wheel cruise out onto the steamboat Natchez. And again, during the sale event, it's worth inquiring, because once you upgrade to a bedroom, you can save off the overall cost of the package when upgrading your hotel or your hotel room or adding extra nights, such as our featured hotel, the Hotel Monteleone, a 4-star property in the heart of the French Quarter. In particular, it's known for its popularity because it's a 4-star in the heart of the French Quarter, but also for its famed carousel bar, which is actually, its main part of the room is a 1800s carousel built into the bar that still rotates today. From there, the journey will continue along the Crescent Route up to our nation's capital into Washington, D.C., and then double back to Chicago to continue and finish the trip. So that, folks, is the Grand Rail Experience, or as I like to call it, a big loop around the country. So I hope I've excited you about the overnight aspect. Of course, some great destinations to travel to. Now, to prepare for your train travel, you're allowed 2 carry-ons of up to 50 pounds each per person, and 2 checked bags of up to 50 pounds each per person. It's completely free. There's no cost to it. And luggage can be checked onto the train as close in as 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time. In fact, around an hour ahead of time is when we normally suggest getting to the train station. It's not like the airlines where you have to get there at the airports an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours if you happen to be going internationally. You can get to the train station around 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time and comfortably board the train. And so it is worth noting there are some everyday discounts. Children aged between 2 to 12 years old receive a 50% discount off the base rail ticket fare. Seniors 65 and over receive a 10% discount off the base rail ticket fare. Active military personnel, spouses, dependents of the active military personnel, and any veterans will receive a 10% discount off the base rail ticket fare. And I do apologize, folks, you can't combine the veterans and the senior. It is one or the other. Some upcoming webinars of note. On the 15th of June, we will be highlighting our national parks by rail. So if you would like to travel to the U.S. national parks, that's a great webinar to jump on as we go to many national parks, and we have many options for packages for you. And on June 22nd, round trip rail vacations, highlighting how we can get you started and returning from your most local station or hometown. So I'm always curious, what destinations are you considering for your next vacation? Is it a national park trip like Glacier National Park or the Tetons? Is it a major city like Los Angeles or New Orleans or Washington, D.C.? Go ahead and type your answer into the questions box. And for any of those who haven't had a chance to type in a question yet, go ahead and do that into the questions box as well. Now, I do want to preface this by saying, if anyone has any questions regarding a customer service specific situation, or you are looking for a price or a quote, all of that, of course, can be done over the phone with an Amtrak Vacations Rail consultant. We did get a question regarding how easily is the upper bunks, whether it be a roomette, whether it be a bedroom, whether it be an accessible room. So in particular, the bunks are fairly simple to climb up into. And of course, it's bunk style sleeping across the board for all of the cabins. Now, if you are traveling in an ADA accessible room, it is still bunk style sleeping. And so if someone, say, is traveling with a walker or wheelchair necessity, and they would traditionally, of course, have the lower bunk, we are assuming they would be traveling in that cabin, if they're sharing that cabin, with someone who can climb up to the top bunk. Are meals included for the roomettes or the ADA accessible rooms as well? Yes, absolutely. And when are they returning? June 23rd. Let's see. Are electric outlets for Cpap machine in the sleeper bedroom? Yes, there is. Do you tip the bedroom attendant or do you wait till the end of the trip? So we do suggest, just as you would tip, say, you might leave a tip or gratuity at a hotel or when traveling on a cruise, that you would tip the sleeper car attendant. How much you tip, that is completely up to you. Now, as for when to tip, you may want to just, and I'm sure you will actively engage with them as you talk and travel on board the train. Some of them will be with you for the duration of your journey on one particular train out, or some may depart at some point if, say, their hometown station is somewhere in between. So I would just converse with them, ask how long they're on with you, but it is totally up to you when you tip, according to when they're on the train with you. For this special sale or any sale, those are for only new reservations. So if you have a currently already made reservation from the past, it's already made, it's already booked, the sale would not be applicable at this point for you. Can you order special meals? I'm not sure exactly what means by special meals. If you're referring to, like, if you have an allergy or a dietary restriction, absolutely. The dining car attendants rather will, of course, take care of all of that. So a question was, is Vancouver an easy add-on from Seattle? Traditionally, the answer would simply be yes. Now, currently, of course, the borders are still closed between the USA and Canada. So it's not currently an easy add-on, though we are, of course, predicting the borders will open up and then everything will go back to normal. So yes, traditionally, Vancouver is an easy add-on from Seattle. Is there a secure place in the Chicago Union Station for your luggage? Say if you're waiting for your next train or if you're exploring. Yes, there is a luggage holding area in the Union Station. Can you stay on the same train for the complete trip? It really just depends on where you're going. If you're taking the train directly from Chicago to Seattle, yes, you will not change trains. If you're going from, say, Boston to Los Angeles, you will change trains in Chicago. So just depends on where you are going. Okay, folks, I want to thank you all for signing on to the presentation today. For any of you who might have signed on a little late or missed a portion, we do record these webinars and we will be posting them to our website. If you have any questions or would like a quote, you can give us a call in. Now, in terms of having some difficulty getting a hold of our call center, it's just a busy time. You will have to call in and wait on hold. If it is a hold, otherwise, that tends to be a little bit busier at the beginning of the week. But the phone number you're seeing right front and center, that is the traditional number to get a hold of. How do I go about getting onto a vacation package from my hometown? Give us a call, chat with the Amtrak Vacations consultant, tell them what your closest station or hometown is. They will find the closest station or the best station for you and rework the itineraries as thus. Okay, folks, again, thank you for signing on to the presentation today. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.